Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
I never told you I loved you. I never told you I loved you, and I looked into your acid eyes, into your acid eyes. I never told you I loved you. I never told you I loved you, and I looked into your acid eyes. You did the damage when you walked in the room. You started whistling my favorite tune. You did the damage, it's done from the start. It's like you swallowed my heart. It's like you swallowed my heart. I never told you I loved you. I never told you I loved you, and I looked into your acid eyes, into your acid eyes. I never told you I loved you. I never told you I loved you, and I looked into your acid eyes, into your acid eyes. And we were going up and out of space. My mind was on. I played guitar while you painted the romance. You moved so fast, we'd never last. And now you're gone, away to Mexico. My mind is on, and she's in my car while you're asking her to dance. I should have asked, I never asked. So baby now, I never told you I loved you. I never told you I loved you, and I looked into your acid eyes, into your acid eyes. I never told you I loved you. I never told you I loved you, and I looked into your acid eyes.
Well, we are indeed back again, and hopefully we are live on tonight. As you may have seen, it is indeed the McCann case in discussion. So we'll get to know what people, I don't know, maybe some people out there have already concluded the case, a bit like Peter Hyatt, who, through simple statement analysis, pretty much concluded the whole case, even down to what probably might have even happened to poor Madeline, right? So we're going to get into it quite a bit tonight, I'd imagine, but nothing too extreme, right? As always, of course. But I reckon it will be probably one of maybe 3, 4 potentially different live streams that we do regarding the McCanns, the multi-millionaires. Indeed, they are. How much money have they actually gotten since the the semen disappearance, the supposed disappearance, even, right? We'll go with that. Since this is the supposed disappearance, how much money have they actually accumulated? Now, some of you might not have seen the Peter Hyatt statement analysis. If you've not seen it, it is linked in, but you should have seen it by now, and it will help potentially for tonight, right? So it's going to be a bit of a McCann saga. We'll go with that. I've got one or two interviews we can look at, the timeline, and a few other bits as well. Nothing extreme to begin with. We'll kind of cover the basics before we take anyone to court, right? Oh man, I can't see us doing that. I mean, what would be the point? What would be the point in taking anyone to court? You wouldn't trust the court system. If you do, then you don't know them. That is for sure. Talk about a controlled entity. Yeah, let's not go there, right? We might get into that maybe in part 2. We might look a wee bit more in regards to the whole investigation, how it went down in Portugal and in the UK. But tonight, mainly, the kind of basics surrounding what happened, or what seemingly happened that night. Personally, I don't know what I could believe in regards to the McCann case. You wouldn't believe any of it. No way. How could you, right? It smells so bad. It is unbelievable. And I remember when Madeline went missing in, what was it, 2006 or 7? I remember I was quite young at the time, teenager probably. And yeah, a typical teenager. We'll go with that. Very stupid, very arrogant, and just didn't know very much. Hey, not that I do today. I'll give you that. But even back then, I knew nothing whatsoever, and I'll hold my hands up to that. It wasn't until about my mid-20s until I kind of started to think, well, wait a minute. This is not right. That's not right. Nothing's right here. Nothing makes sense, right? But of course it makes sense when you stand back and look at the bigger picture. The system, the beast system that we're in, it's not broken. It's built this way. And it works perfectly. And of course, they're in a great reset at the moment. But going back to 07 when it happened, thank you, Carrie. When you go back to that, I can remember very clearly in my mind. It must have been one of the first interviews that Jerry done. And it was on the news at the time. 6 o'clock news. My dad, my late father, he watched it religiously. The 8 o'clock news in the morning, the 6 o'clock news at night, and then the 10 o'clock news at night. And it was the same thing. Pretty much nothing had changed. It was the same story. Talk about programming, right? Because of course he was not alone. Many people did the same. They were there to watch the news, no matter what. And we watched an interview with Jerry McCann. And I remember my dad stood up after it and he said, "He's lying." And I thought, wait, what? Surely not, right? I mean, the guy's daughter just went missing. How could you say? How could he come to that conclusion? And it must have been only a minute or two of an interview from Jerry, and my dad sussed it out straight away. Jerry was telling lies. And of course, when you look at Jerry's interviews, I mean that guy can't hide very much, right? And then when you look at the statement analysis, yeah, it's pretty clear that when it comes to the language that we use, it can catch you out. Without you even knowing, of course, you would have to be very, very, very fucking smart to avoid it. In the expert statement analysis, Peter Hyatt, he said, well, Richard D. Hall had said, basically what they do is they hang themselves with their own words. And Peter Hyatt said, well, actually, it's better than that, because what they do is they even make their own rope with their own words. Then they hung themselves with it by mainly the vocabulary that they use. But not only that, when you add the body language, when you put two and two together, in my own personal view, I think it's pretty conclusive, because you're talking about something that can't be hidden here when it comes to body language and statement analysis. The McCanns, they're not that they're clearly not that smart. And I think even with their own words, they have pretty much, like Peter Hyatt had said, with their own words, they've hung themselves. And he even went to an extent to say they had murdered, or at least Madeline had died. And then they had got rid of the body, even to, what is it he said again? They hid it. So they might have, I don't know, buried it. And he was, by the language they used, Peter Hyatt reckoned they were quite adamant she was never going to be found. So it's hard to conclude what that would mean, but the bottom line again would be they're clearly hiding something, right? I think there's a lot of people who have got different views on what actually happened or what is meant to have happened to Madeline. But I think we can unite on one thing and push all that to one side and agree that Kate and Jerry McCann are not telling the truth. No way. And still to this day, they continue to get paraded on the media like some kind of cash cow. How much money have they made? Would we even ever get to know the true figure on what they have made? I only have to look at Jerry McCann, and I can tell you right now, that guy is a complete and utter psycho. No two ways about it. And do you know this? In the beginning, when I first kind of looked into it, with open eyes, if you like, I kind of got the feeling that Kate wasn't involved to begin with, or was not there when it all went down, whatever happened. But the more time goes on, I'm unsure. I think they maybe both played quite a big part. But early on, I did get the feeling Jerry was the guy who pulled the strings and made it happen, whatever happened. And basically, let's go with, made Madeline disappear. and I would put the whole every single thing that they say that they've told us about that night. I would question every single part of it, down to what were the kids even in the flat. So you wouldn't know what to believe. Um, it's an intriguing case because clearly many, 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 an unbelievably horrendous amount of children go missing. And the majority of that, you do not hear a peep. Nope, you will not hear a thing about it. It becomes maybe a statistic, right? But when you're dealing with the Jerry and Kate McCann, no, 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 no. Different story, completely different kettle of fish. And of course, I'm not a researcher, I'm not an expert on anything whatsoever. I think I've got a good gut instinct. That's about my only my only claim to fame, if you like. I've got that. But in my own mind, it's undeniable that Jerry and Kate McCann are not telling the truth. And when you add all the money they've accumulated, the whole saga surrounding it, they cannot be working alone. They simply can't. They've got to be part of a bigger circle, a bigger network, a bigger ring, if you like. You get me? And I thought it was quite outstanding how Peter Hyatt concluded in his statement analysis that somewhere in the family regarding Kate, there was what word could I use? There was, at least by the vocabulary used by Kate, suspicion of some form of sexual abuse in the McCann family. Simply by statement analysis. I mean, the guy is a genius at what he does, right? And we seen him do it with Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, and he completely nailed them. He busted Buzz and he busted Neil, and now back then even, he also busted Jerry McCann and Kate McCann. And again, in my own view, it's pretty conclusive, really. Although it wouldn't hold in court, of course, right? You would need something a bit more substantial. But even then, like I said, it would be a struggle, right? It would be a struggle. So we're getting into the McCanns tonight. We'll jump into the chat and people can let me know what they think. So I guess, yeah, good evening, good afternoon, good night, good morning, wherever you are in this absolutely insane world that we live in. Yikes, where do you even begin? Anybody? At the beginning. That's usually where to start, right? What a world we're in. We're live tonight, I think, on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So, yeah, we're right across the board, right? I think we've got Jim over on Facebook watching. So, hello to the Soul Watcher on Facebook. Thank you, Jim, for joining tonight. Let us know your thoughts on the McCann case, right? So I mentioned there, I think there is other people who are involved here, right? Does anyone think that? Does anyone think they're being helped out by other people? Anyone in particular? There's one thing that's always caught my eye, if you pardon the pun, and we'll expand on that a wee bit more, but maybe other people might know what I'm talking about here, right? A lot of people conclude that she got drugged or some kind of sleeping pill and it went wrong, or she died from a side effect. It wasn't the bloody they weren't juicing at that time, so it couldn't have been that. But I can see why people think that, but I wouldn't put any weight behind that. But I can see, well, seemingly they used to give their children a drug to go to sleep. I don't know what it was. I'm unsure if it's true, but going by these people, I'd imagine it is true. But I'm unsure. I wouldn't rule it out, but I wouldn't put any weight behind that one. I think what's happened here is a lot, unfortunately, a lot more evil, satanic, absolutely disgusting than I would care to imagine. Again, I could be wrong. Of course, it's going to be speculation. Totally, as always, as always, right? But we go there. So we'll jump into the chat and we'll see how people are getting on. I've been away for about, I don't know, a week and a half, maybe. So has anybody missed me? I doubt it, right? I doubt it very much. Oh, that nutter's back again, talking about the McCann case. I was away on Monday. I went to what could it be called? A meeting or a talk, maybe, by the lady called Sandy Adams from the UK, and another guy called Fergus. Bugger, what's his name? He's got a book called 180 Degrees, I think. But I enjoyed it. It was quite good. To be fair, there was only one thing I didn't know that caught my attention. And I'm going to I did speak to Sandy after it, and she kind of agreed to an interview. So we'll see if she holds to it, right? And I think she will. But I want to get her on, and she's very good on the whole smart city agenda 2030. So we can talk about that. We know quite a lot about that. We can go over that, yeah. But she mentioned as well about a contract of, I think it was Boeing 747 aircraft that would be used for chemtrails. Well, geoengineering, right? And that kind of caught my attention, so I wanted to maybe ask her a wee bit more about it, who the company is. I think she knows who the company are. So that might give us a bit of a lead, and we can take it from there, right? Just on that, when it comes to geoengineering, people know my views on that. Of course, it's already happening. Right now, probably outside. Shh. But it's going to be happening all out in the open, backed by the sheeple, under the guise of geoengineering to mitigate and achieve the ultimate holiest of holiest grails, which is, of course, net zero, the unachievable target. It's all about net zero now. There was it was on the BBC. I heard it on the Richie Allen show. Someone called up the programme and said, look, the Prime Minister needs to be on telly with a climate scientist at each side telling people about the global climate crisis. You know, a bit like the COVID scenario. Remember, I shouldn't laugh, but remember they done that? Yeah, Tweedledee and fucking Tweedledum, and then the big clown in the middle, Boris Johnson. Remember? I mean, it was comical, right? Well, they're wanting that, but in climate form. And some people here might remember. I can guarantee you this is probably the case, right? The person that phoned in the BBC show probably was not even a genuine member of the public. And I'll tell you why I think that, because this is what they want. And if the stuff that we have been reading pretty much, it talks about how geoengineering in the future, it will be a win or bust political topic. So we're not quite there yet, right? But we're getting there. We are getting there. No matter what you might think, how it's happening, we're certainly in a bit of a situation where the weather is, let's say, being manipulated. But of course, it won't be the government or the hidden hand, because that would be a conspiracy theory, right? And we don't do conspiracy theories here, right? We don't. Straight up. We straight up don't, because it's all pretty much true. Let's go with that when we get down to it. But we do like to speculate when it comes to investigations. I think it's only right to do that. That's what being I guess, journalist kind of detective is. Not that I'm that. I'm certainly not. I mean, my wife, yeah, she could be. She definitely could be. She could be. She's like Columbo, man. Honest to God. She could open up a private detective agency. I shit you not. Of course, with that being the case, I can't do anything. I can't get away with anything, right? My wife is, honest to God, like Columbo. I'm a very curious person myself, but detective wise, very basic. Very, very basic. If I can even say that, to be fair. But I did, through even my simple, basic investigative skill, if I can call it that, I did, at least in my mind, I did crack about what? How long had it been? 30, 40-year mystery of who is behind the Georgia Guidestones, or as I call them, the Georgia Tombstones. And I guess, yeah, it's kind of my claim to fame, because I'm still waiting to be debunked. And I debunked a theory that has been used for quite a long time, which is Ted Turner done it. It was Ted Turner. No, it wasn't Ted Turner. And I debunked that theory pretty much straight away, which actually kind of, a few people weren't happy about that. Yeah. But there you go. It can't be Ted. It simply cannot be. It can be, and in my own view, it was Lawrence Spellman Rockefeller. There you go. Look it up. The video that I done is still up. It still gets looked at from time to time. There's your answer if you ever wanted it. It's there. I already cracked it in 2020. And I'm still waiting to be debunked, right? Maybe one day I will be. We'll see. We'll see. But when it comes to that, I think I might have nailed it. Spellman is the guy. He fits the job. He fits the shoe to a T. He matches all the figures, all the questions. He's about the only person in the world that could. And of course, they got knocked down, right? Yeah. So I'll say hello, and then we will look at one or two clips of Jerry and Kate being interviewed. Yeah. A dead giveaway again. They can't hide it, man. They simply cannot hide it. And I'm laughing because it's so obvious. I mean, they don't even try. They don't. Who have we got in the hood tonight? Quite a few people in, which is great, right? Maybe I was being missed. I doubt it, but there you go. It's a pleasure to be back again. Wendy in the hood. Handful of sunny days in Alaska this summer. Yeah, it's normal. Yeah, funny because we kind of the same here. We've not had a summer, to be fair. Not yet anyway. But maybe we'll get a Indian summer. If I can still call it that. It might be racist to call it that. You're not allowed to call it that. I'll be getting a knock on the door for a hate crime now. Talking about an Indian summer. Maybe we'll get it yet. But yeah, interesting. Similar here. They're trying to, attract people's attention for sure. More and more, it's about the climate. So hello to Wendy B in the hood. A joy to see you. Jim over on Spacebook. Good to see Jim back again. Pole shift. Yeah, people talk about that. I can't rule it out. But again, I can't put much weight behind it either, to be honest. I mean, who are you going to trust there? NASA? I wouldn't trust them, right? But yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. Something's going on. They're certainly manipulating the sky above. And they've been doing it now for decades. It's pretty clear. I don't think anyone denies that now, to be honest. Even people who maybe deny it's some form of what people might call a chemtrail, you've still got people saying, well, actually, the aviation industry, it is having an effect. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's having an effect, all right. They can say that again, right? I mean, the weather here has been terrible. And I met a guy, a gentleman on Monday night, a great guy. His name was John. Local. He gave me a lift as well, which was great. Cheers, John. But John mentioned John mentioned something that never even crossed my mind at the time, because the weather here had been terrible for about, I don't know, 2 weeks solid. Just grey, rain, thunder. And then on the Saturday, it was a blue sky. Then after that, no, nothing. And of course, on the Saturday, they had a big event at the military camp where the Red Arrows were in attendance. And I seen them flying about here, bloody chemtrailing the whole area with God only knows what, right? They done a big loop-de-loop, and yeah, the kids like it. It's, I guess, quite good to watch, right? When it comes to aircraft, they are severe bits of engineering, them. I mean, you've got to hand it to it. But on the other hand, look at what they do, the military. Personally, I would much rather be without the military in my back garden, but they are there. And on that day, it was a completely clear blue sky. And is that just a coincidence? I doubt it very much. And it might give you an idea as to who might actually be pulling the strings when it comes to manipulating the weather, right? The military. And of course, yeah, NASA, because they control the data. They've got the key. They'll be the ones who alarm bells are ringing. Look at this map here. It's on fire. All the ones that are on the TV are on fire now. I'm just waiting for the flame effect to be added to the countries all across. Honest to God, look out for it. I don't think they've added it yet. I shouldn't give them ideas, right? But there was one guy on the radio said, "Oh, a presenter." He said, "The world's on fire." Well, it feels like it. Right, so it's not then. Simple. It only feels like it. And of course, yeah, people talk about, well, if climate change is not real, what about all the wildfires? How do you explain that? It's never happened. Well, maybe it's happened, right? Yeah. Is it bigger? Yeah. A lot of the time, is it actually arson? Hmm? Any fire that seems to spark up, climate change. And then there has been several that were actually due to arson. But climate change gets the blame, right? And of course, when you look at other things that have been happening, like rewilding, not clearing forests out like they used to, um, sort of adding, if you like, adding fuel to the fire. So when it does go up, it goes up all right. And I think we seen that in Australia. They done similar. They stopped clearing a lot of the bush, the forest, and then of course when it went on fire, yeah, it went on fire all right. A similar scenario with the flooding. Or we'll stop dredging the rivers and then expect it not to have an effect and an effect, which it did. It still does, and it causes flooding. But of course, then they say climate change done it. Yeah, of course, yeah, of course it did. Silly me. So what was I doing again? I was saying hello. Katie Kane in the hood as well. Good to see Katie back again. I'm hoping the audio's all right. We have been away, so I've not used it, but we should be in working order, right? Surely. Katie Kane in the hood, Wendy in the hood, Jim in the hood, Frank in the hood. Frank, the information tank, back again. A pleasure. Thank you as well for the emails, much appreciated. A great live stream from Mark Windows the other night, and I was blushing because Mark was saying, "Yeah, William's a good guy. He's a good guy," because Mark was calling out all these people, and he was like, "Yeah, William's a good guy," and I thought, "Thank God." Thank God someone out there thinks that I'm a good guy, right? And of course, coming that to me coming from Mark means quite a lot. Mark is a big inspiration. I mean, when it comes to research that he's done, wow, he's a bit like a blueprint on what to do, how to look into stuff, how deep you should go, right, to get to the bones of it. And of course, I've got to hand it to Mark. The years, I mean, talking since what, 2005, Mark's been broadcasting information about the world that we're in. And I mean, for all them years, I don't know how he's done it. Honest to God, the guy needs some sort of medal, right? Maybe we can sort that out. So I've got a lot of time and respect for Mark, and hopefully we can get him on again. I'll be getting in touch with Mark next week. So yeah, maybe we can arrange a date and get Mark on again. I think a lot of people liked it. Maybe next time. Uh, maybe next time I'll actually be there. But hey, who knows? Maybe I'll get kicked off again. Technical issue galore, right? We had, but Mark was okay, and he was a true professional and took over the show, and that was great. Mark knew what to do. An old hand, if you like, at broadcasting for many years. So I was very happy. I could have just signed out and let Mark finish the show, right? And I did say to Mark, well, a good interview technique is to just completely shut up. And of course, what did I do? I took it to a whole new level. My internet went down, my Wi-Fi went down, and I had to reset my laptop. And I'm unsure how long it took, but I think it must have took about 10 minutes to 15 minutes before I actually got back in the room. So yeah, um, hey, what can you do? Technology, right? You can't win, so there you go. But if you've not seen it, make sure you check it out. Ulick in the Hood. Ulick's going to explain where he got his name from one day when he comes on, right? Ulick, good man. Good to see Ulick back again. Did I get everyone? Oh, Richard in the Hood as well. Our brother Rich, good to see you back again. Yeah, talk about guilt, right? And they do talk about guilt as well a lot of the time. And it's like, well, guilt about what though? Hmm? What are you guilty about? And of course, I think the last one I seen them talk about guilt, it was in reference to leaving the kids alone. And I mean, I don't know. I can't see me. I can't see me doing it. Looking at the map of the resort, and we'll get that up as well. But when you look at the map, I don't think you would be leaving them there in their bed sleeping while you're away, basically quite a bit away, getting drunk or I don't know, drinking and having a meal, and your kids are sleeping in a quite a shady apartment on a street that's not. It's not part of the compound. Well, it is, but it's not got a fence around it or anything like that. People could walk in off the street, no problem. I think they say they might have came in the window. I find that hard to believe as well. I think the blinds were down. Why would the blinds be down? I don't think that would be the case. Kari C in the Hood as well. A joy to see Kari. Ian Marr back again. Good to see Ian. I hope you're doing well, brother. Kari as well in the Hood. A different Kari. Good to see you back again. Ragnar. Good to see Rags, our Irish brother, back again. A dog named Boo. Always here, so always a joy. Part of the furniture, right? Fantastic. Bry, back again. Good to see Bry. So I reckon I got pretty much everyone. Unbelievably. There you go. So we achieved it, right? Level completed. So what do people here reckon happened? Do people like, is there anybody who thinks that the McCanns are part of a bigger community, a bigger circle, a bigger cult, if you like? We've got Carmel as well in the Hood. A joy to see Carmel lurking in the background, creeping about. That's the anytime someone says, "Oh, lurking," I always have an image of them creeping about, like on their tiptoes, but listening, right? But lurking. Okay, we'll let you off, Carmel. We won't issue press ups tonight. I kind of get the feeling that I can only conclude the McCanns are part of a bigger network. Going by the help that they've had, they've clearly had a lot of help, right? Clearly. So good to see Carmel back again. We'll jump now to screen share. How do I work it again? We'll go to this one. Is it sharing? Sharing is caring. Well, it should be. Aye, but it's quite not what I'm looking for. If I put it, is that better? Aye, we'll go with that. We're cooking by gas now, right? We can go with that. There we go. Sorry, I had to go there for a minute. I was like, Superman, gone. You're probably thinking, where's the audio? Finally, he's gone. He's back again, right? So I had to speak to my wonderful wife. The joys, right? So there you go. We're back again. I see. I'm gonna try and keep an eye on the comments, but it's me. I can't multitask, so I'm a straight white male. There's not much I can do, but seemingly I'm privileged. Privileged, eh? Sure. The beautiful Justine is in the hood. A joy to see Justine back again. I hope you and the family are well. Great stuff. Angela as well. Good to see Angela. Yeah, I think so. I think you're dealing with the real satanic circle. The people at the very top of these occults, if you like. I think they helped out. In some way or another, they've made it all good. And here, have this money. But at what cost? Was it simply a sacrifice? Or did, again, speculation, or was there a specific individual who wanted to acquire this specific person, Madeline? And I can't rule it out, but I can't put much weight behind it. But something that, again, pardon the pun, caught my eye very early on was Madeleine McCann's eye. Which you can probably see, I think. Let me just see if I can get the comment. See, what Madeleine McCann has got is a rare genetic deformity of the pupil. And it is definitely rare. At least I don't think I know anybody or have ever met anyone who has this really strange genetic. Is strange the right word? I'm unsure if that's the right word. Unique. This unique eye pupil deformity. You can see I'm very technical, right? I mean, you can't not notice it. But there is a certain individual that we all know who also has the same rare genetic eye condition. And again, it's all speculation on my part, but I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule out some kind of deal being made. And I'll show you the person in particular who I should have had up. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. Someone did mention the name of it. Let me see if I can get a good image, if there can be such a word used before. A George Soros photo. I mean, talk about evil, right? I mean, honest to God, that's not a great one. Let me see. Is this better? Oh, for God's sake. Reject. Oh, nope. Don't allow. I don't want to sign up to the Irish Times, thank you. So I'll show you. And this is be prepared, right? Because you're going to get a jump scare here. Honest to God, it's going to be like a big jump scare. Do we know what they are? I didn't until my son told me what it was, or I seen him getting scared by a jump scare, and you might get one. So she Madeline clearly has a very unique eye condition, and it was years ago that I seen that a certain individual had similar, and I kind of thought, that's a bit dodgy. That could Madeline with this condition have possibly been a potentially could be a prized possession to someone with this condition also. I mean, again, speculation, but I'm not going to rule it out, and I'll show you. Does anyone know who I'm talking about? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know it's quite heartbreaking when you get down to it. For a lot of people, they can't get into it, which I can understand, but it would be good to get a bit of justice, right? And part of me I kind of dread to imagine what has happened to poor Madeline. I mean, we can't put any much trust in anything, but I kind of get the feeling whatever did happen is not good. It's not Jimmy Savile who said that. Ulick. No, not him. But I can see why you might have thought Jimmy. Does anyone know? I thought people might know. Someone's gonna get it right, but I'll show you. I'll take you out of the misery and the tension. Just fucking tell us who the fuck is it? I think so, Justine. Do you know what? In the end, none of us are going to get out scot free. I firmly believe that we reap what we sow, and I kind of feel that we'll all get a Judgment Day. We'll go with that. It's not Podesta, but of course they have been linked. And when you look at the drawing of the two guys who seemingly got seen near the apartment, yeah, I can see why people say that. And of course, Podesta, he would certainly be part of a secret cult, satanic, sickening cult that would indeed have the power to pull the strings in such a scenario like the McCann case. Someone with a lot of power is helping Jerry and Kate McCann. No two ways about it. I wouldn't go that far, Dominic. Honestly, my wife is she's very instinctive, and the only way I can describe her is like Columbo. Honest to God. But thank you very much, Dominic. Good to see Dom back again. So I'll show you if I can jump to the screen share. The person in particular, and everybody knows who he is this guy. Talk about an evil entity, right? Of course it is George Soros. He's got it. I'm unsure if you're going to see it very well. I'm zoomed right in to his pupil, and you can see it very similar, although maybe not quite as clear. But he's certainly got it, known to have the condition. And I mean, what is the condition? What can we really believe on what this condition is, how it comes about? And I wouldn't like to have anything this guy might want, because if you did, he would find a way to get it. So that's why I don't rule anything out. With that kind of theory, some people have mentioned it before. I'm not alone in mentioning this strange, maybe ironic, possibly coincidence where Soros and Madeline have got the same rare genetic DNA condition. So what do people make of that? Get him off, he's mental! Of course, I've heard that before, right? Of course, again, speculation, and I'm not putting all my weight behind it because I couldn't. But I certainly feel it's worth note, right? So we'll take note of that. If we ever discover that Jerry McCann or Kate McCann had personal dealings with George Soros, alarm bells are going to start ringing. So I guess maybe watch this space, right? Yeah. Let's go with that. So we'll jump now. I want to show you the timeline. We're going to look at the timeline, and then we're going to look at one of the very first interviews that got done by Jerry and Kate McCann. And I mean, hey, I'm not an expert or anything like Peter Hyatt, who is a expert on statement analysis. But if you look at what Peter says, and he tells you how they find this stuff out, if you then put that into practice with, say, for example, Jerry McCann, you can clearly see there's red flags and serious cause for concern. Serious cause for concern. And I'm unsure. I mean, even before I knew anything about statement analysis, I knew a wee bit about body language, and it was when you're talking about Jerry McCann, it was not good. It was very, very defensive. But the most worrying thing for me personally, when it comes to Jerry McCann, he is evil. He fucking oozes evil. You can see it in his eyes. The guy is a complete and utter psycho. And that is coming from me. Right? So, I mean, honest to God, I can see why my dad picked up on Jerry McCann very early, straight away, straight off the bat. Oh, he's lying. We've got Joni in the hood who got her channel terminated. So get subscribed if not already. Thank you, Joni, for joining tonight. Justine. Yeah. I mean, you would have to be an absolute genius to hide the words that you use giving you away and your body language giving you away. I mean, I think it would be impossible. And I mean, there's certain things that we always kind of know about through our life. Oh, he's itching his nose, or when he said that he scratched his face when he said it, and it's like, well, it's like a giveaway. It's their body trying to say, nope, that's not correct. It's something else. And again, it's not concrete, but it's got to make you wonder, right? Jerry is probably one of the worst people I've seen at hiding, and that even when I think about Neil Armstrong, and that is saying something, that because Neil Armstrong is a terrible liar, very bad, almost as bad as Buzz Aldrin. But Jerry McCann, he cannot hide his true nature, a bit like Tony Blair. They ooze evil. You can see it crawling out of their skin. This evilness. Honest to God, man. Maybe it's just me, but I dread to imagine what's went down here. I really do. So I'll take you across now to another article. If I can work the screen. If Joni... Can I add Joni as a moderator from here? I can't. I'll try and do it during the interview. Oh, there you go. Ulick saved the day. Good man, Ulick, a true gent. Like a bullet, right? Here it is. He had it ready, written down. Good man, Ulick. Great stuff. So, we'll jump now to the timeline. If I can work it. Yeah, even just looking at Jerry McCann, I get angry. Honest to God, man, it's like, I just want to give him a Glasgow kiss. We'll go with that, right? Of course, we know what that is. It's maybe not what you think. So jumping back to, you can see there again, the eye condition. And when I think back as well, and looking back over it again from now, in the early stages, they did say, look, Madeline has a bit of a strange eye deformity, I think they called it, which is a bit unfair. I don't know if I could call it that. It's unique. It's a unique condition, right? I mean, yeah, you can say that on Madeline, but when you see it on George Soros, you think, well, maybe it's not a nice condition. But early on, they said, yeah, she's got a rare eye condition, so you'll know her. She'll be different from everyone else. Of course, you would easily spot her. But then it seemed to be maybe about a few months after the disappearance, that kind of stopped and there was no mention of it anymore. And they kind of packed away and it was kind of over. Well, at least you might have thought it was over. But of course it wasn't over. It was really only the beginning. Only the beginning. When you look at Jerry McCann, his net worth today, yeah, seemingly it's around 8 million. Not 6, not 7, but 8 million. Jerry McCann, net worth. How many parents of children that have went missing have got a net worth of 8 million? How many? What would be the chances? What would be the odds, Jerry? Not many, put it that way. Probably none. But Jerry McCann, yeah. Different kettle of fish there, right? And 8 million is one figure. When you look at the McCann case overall, it's made in the upwards of 13 million. Not 10, not 11, not 12, but 13. 13.1 million. The McCann's investigation. I wonder what they did with that money, right? And again, how many families out there get that kind of money to help them investigate or find their lost, loved child? And who out there, what parent out there in the right mind would even leave Portugal without them? Because I reckon I'd still be there. I'd have dug the place over by now. With my own bare fucking hands, I shit you not. But there you go. Maybe that's maybe that would just be me. Stupid old me, right? A crazy old me. Still be digging to this day. Honest to God. Why would you leave? You wouldn't leave. You simply wouldn't. Remember the video we seen when they went on holiday? And Jerry's sitting on the bus, and the guy recording it says, "Cheer up, Jerry. We're on holiday." And what does Jerry? I shouldn't laugh, but what did Jerry say? Fuck off. That's what he said. He told him to F off. And his face and his body language looked very, very, very concerning. Especially for a guy who's meant to be on holiday, enjoying himself. But no, he told the guy to fuck off on the bus on the way to the holiday resort. Looked a bit shifty, to say the least. In fact, very shifty. So did Jerry already know at that point that something was going to go down? Why act so shifty? I mean, was he naturally a complete and utter arsehole? I guess he probably was, right? But you kind of think, look, on the bus, on the way to the resort, the wheels on the bus go round and round, a siesta, a sing song, the sombreros, um, like a happy atmosphere. Oh no, not Jerry McCann. Oh no, at least not happy then, but certainly managed to have a smile or two after. I mean, talk about psycho. Yikes. I mean, the guy genuinely makes my skin crawl. I kid you not. I think I would. I better watch what I'm saying. Yeah. I better watch what I'm saying, right? I'll be getting arrested. So they go on holiday and they're going to Portugal. The holiday complex Ocean Club. So they headed off to Portugal 28th of April 2007. A date we could probably look into in part 2. Then by what date? The 3rd of May 2007, Madeleine McCann is reported missing. Yeah. Here's the department here. Accessible, pretty much accessible to anybody. So, 7:30 a.m. Over breakfast, Madeline asks her parents why they had not been in the apartment when she woke up and cried the night before. Kate and Jerry make a mental note, right, to constantly check their children constantly check their children are settled when they go out for a meal that evening. Right. Sorry, what? I just already I can't help but think, wait, what? This kind of makes me think they weren't even in the hotel that night they're talking about. So that morning, seemingly Madeline said, "Oh, why were you not here? I was crying. Where was you? They were gone. Living it up, right?" So the next day they think, right, we'll check on them. So they only started to check that day. I think that's worth bearing in mind as well. I mean, my gut instinct tells me that what they done, you wouldn't do. And I know people say, well, you're on holiday, but if you're on holiday, it's all the more reason to keep your guard up. You're going to be a target to someone. So I'm unsure what to make of that. I don't think they're telling the truth there. I don't think Madeline did say that. I don't think that happened. But again, I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong. It was a kind of strange thing to mention as well. Was it like a some form of cover story already? Oh well, the night before she could have went missing, and then we decided to check, but she was missing when Kate went to check. You wouldn't know what to believe, right? You really wouldn't. So, 7 p.m., Jerry returns and Madeline is read a bedtime story. The twins are put in a travel cot next to Madeline's bed and the children fall asleep. The shutters outside the ground floor bedroom are down and the window is closed. Kate and Jerry leave the door ajar. I mean, why would you even do that? I mean, you wouldn't do that. Why would you do that? Why would you leave the door ajar? Surely instead of leaving the door ajar, you would maybe leave the window open. But again, what an absolutely outrageous risk to take. 2 young babies, twins, and a young child, Madeline, in an unlocked room with the door ajar. I mean, if anything, it should be prison that Kate and Jerry get for fucking neglect. And I mean, this as well, I kind of find hard to believe. I don't buy. I don't buy you would leave the door ajar. I don't buy it. I'm not sure I buy that, to be honest. There's the pool there at the resort. I think that might be the tapas bar where they attended for a meal, or here maybe, with the apartment being over this way, the opposite side. 8:30 p.m. Kate and Jerry leave their apartment and go to the tapas restaurant. Or is it tapas? Is it tapas or tapas? What do people say? Is there anyone here who watches the ID crowd or the IT crowd? Sorry, clearly not me because I can't get the name right, but I do watch it. I've seen it all more than once, and it's quite funny. So if you've not seen it, check it out. Right, but we're going to go with tapas. So they go out to the tapas restaurant to eat with 7 other people. So there were 9, a group of 9 people. Right. 9:05 p.m. Jerry returns to the apartment and notices the position of the bedroom door is different to how they left it. Huh? He walks into the room and sees all 3 of his children asleep. I mean, come on. Really? I mean, come on. And that wasn't suspicious or made him think, right, maybe we'll take them to the restaurant or we'll take the party back here. I mean, if the door, I mean, this is insane, right? If the door was in a different position, what does that tell you? Someone was in the room. Now, if that was your children, it would give you the ultimate fucking chills down your spine. And you would go into a natural parental reaction and you would be coming back home to the apartment. Freaked out. Or am I wrong about that? I mean, that has got to set. I mean, come on. The door was different. Someone had been in the room. Or what? The kids had been roaming about out in the street. And that, that to Jerry, no cause for concern. Back to the tapas, right? Mm, must have been good tapas that night. I mean, come on. Really? So Jerry heads back to the restaurant, but stops for a conversation with someone along the way. Huh. I wonder who that someone was. Hmm? The guy with no face. Remember remember that cutout, right? Yeah, no face. Just the mysterious guy. Is that not the sketch they tried to pin on the German guy? Remember they tried to say it was some German guy? I think he got charged at one point. I mean, the whole story is a complete and utter can of worms, man. Every corner, every inch of this saga is concerning, and it's one of these situations that, in my view, shows you corruption is right from the top all the way down, and it is satanic, rooted to its core. And by God, I wish it wasn't, but it is. This is where we are. Anybody who looks a wee bit farther than their nose, you'll soon conclude the same. She could have ended up in the possession of some kind of trafficking ring and never seen again. But the McCanns might have been told, look, that's it. We'll look after you now, but she won't be back. But given who Jerry is, I think Jerry is part of it. I'm unsure about Kate. She might hide it a wee bit better than Jerry. But I can say with certainty, and it comes from my to the very pit of my gut. And Jerry is not a good guy. And I would like to spend just 10 minutes speaking to Jerry McCann. Even 1 minute. And then I'd probably end up in the jail. Because he would say something that would annoy me. I could guarantee it. A smarky comment. You could imagine him, right? Oh, man. Honestly. So 9:15 p.m., another parent in the group, Jane Tanner, walks past the McCann's apartment and she goes to check on her own children. She sees a man carrying a child, and after Madeline disappears, she becomes the police's main suspect. Huh. I mean, straight off the bat again. Straight off the bat. You've got one of their friends being the main suspect because she's seen a guy carrying a child. While checking on her own children. Surely she would have been checking on them all, right? Would that have not? Surely if you're sitting in a group, yeah, will you check on Madeline? Check on the twins. Yeah, no problem. That'll save me going. And then I'll go next time and I'll check on your children, right? None of that, no. I mean, this again, I find this one hard to buy. I think they're making I think they're making their story up. I'm unsure for how long Jane was a suspect, but I don't think it was very long. I mean, how could she how could she have done it? I guess she could have played a role in it, but I can't see it. I can't see that one. I would be interested to know a wee bit more about Jane and the other 8 or so individuals, 7 individuals who were there that night in the group. Who were they? For what reason were they there? Did these 9 individuals all know each other previously? And if so, under what circumstances did they know each other? Had they been on holiday before together? Was there any missing cases there? I mean, there's so many questions, right? We're going to be here all night. So they don't seem to be checking on each other. So yeah, in regards to the guy that Jane seemingly seen, 6 years later, the Met Police conclude. Oh yeah, that well, you can guarantee that it's true and honest then, right? It's the Metropolitan Police, the good guys. 6 years later, the Met Police conclude the man Jane saw was an innocent British holidaymaker carrying his daughter home from a creche. At 9:15 p.m. at night? Would that be would that be? I guess, hey, I don't think that would be the case in the UK. You wouldn't have a nursery or a kindergarten open until 8 p.m., never mind 9 p.m. Or maybe you would for people who work, say night shift. I don't think there's much of a demand for that. But again, it wouldn't take much probably digging to see if there was any creches actually open at that time of night, which would again add more questions if there's not. And how did the Metropolitan Police conclude that? Did the guy come forward? 10 p.m. Kate McCann finishes eating and goes back to the apartment. She notices that the children's bedroom door is quite open, but as she goes to close it slightly, a breeze slams it shut. She goes into the room, realizes Madeline is missing, and notices that the window is open and the shutters are up. The alarm is raised. Right. I don't know. I'm finding that hard to believe again. I can't believe any of it. Shock horror. So she finishes eating. She goes back to the apartment, notices the bedroom doors open, goes to close it, but then a breeze slammed it shut. Just at that time. like perfect timing, right? I mean, what would be the odds in that? She notices it open, goes to close it, boom, too late. And surely if she noticed it open, would that have not raised question, suspicion? Again? Has someone been in the room? And all she was going to do is close the door, not even check on the kids while she's there. So she goes in and the alarm gets raised. And I think we need to remember what they're saying here. They're saying that the door was open, the breeze closed it shut. The window is open, but the shutters... No, sorry, and the shutters are up, which of course, seemingly, the window was closed and the shutters were down. So what are they trying to say? That the guy came in the window? Rather than the opened door that was clearly, seemingly open? He's going to jump in and out the window while carrying an infant. I can't see that happening. Surely you would be in and out the door. You would probably injure yourself trying some kind of fireman's lift out the window. But if the shutters are up and they were originally down, then yeah, I guess it would point to some form of activity at the window. Again, I can't buy the story. The official narrative, it's just, I can't buy it. Simply can't. And the search, I mean, even if the case kind of ended there and there was not all this movies and books and Netflix and millions, it would still be very, very, very suspicious. But the fact that we've got all this added to it is again a serious cause for concern. In my own opinion, Kate and Jerry McCann are criminals. And they are fleecing the public on quite a big scale, going by the figures anyway. And when it comes to the McCanns, they honestly, my blood boils when I think about it. Probably not healthy for me to be talking about them, but here we are, right? I think maybe in 2020 I'd done a video about Jerry McCann. It's had quite a lot of views actually. It still gets viewed today. And going back to when I first started my Fugspiracy Facebook page, even then, I had an interest in the McCann case, and I was always concerned about Jerry, about the true nature of the guy. And every year now, and I said it in 2020, I said, watch this, it won't end. It's never going to end. Every year, every time there's going to be something new. There's going to be another chapter in the book. And the McCanns again are going to make millions. Again and again. But what about the other people who lose their children to the beast system? Not a penny. I mean, look at the media coverage that it got. I think every single adult in the world knew what Madeleine McCann looked like. Yet no one could find her. So we might jump back to the timeline. Because, I mean, I don't know if there's much point because none of it makes any sense. None of it adds up. None of it seemed to be the actions of a sensible parent or guardian. But then again, we are talking about Jerry and Kate McCann here. So I'll take you across. What we'll do is we'll watch a Jerry McCann interview. I think Jerry and Kate McCann, and it's from the same year. It's not very long after, right? So you're talking maybe, I think it was about a month after, not even that. So one of the very first interviews that they done. And I think it's about maybe 10 minutes long. So we're going to have a look at that and we might break it down a wee bit. But there is also maybe 2 more or 3 actually, 3 more videos, interviews, some of them quite short. So we're going to have a look at them. So what we're going to go back to 2007, an interview with, I think it is Sky News, and Kate and Jerry McCann. Fresh from, in fact, I think they're still in Portugal at the time. So very, very fresh on the mind, right? Very fresh. So we'll jump to that. We might dissect it a wee bit, depending on the time. But certainly, what I want people to do is to bear in mind what we've learned from Peter Hyatt. Some of you, I'm sure some of you here watched Peter Hyatt. And if you've watched Peter Hyatt and the McCann case and Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, then you would have seen a lot of key things, a lot of key patterns in language and body language that point to deception and basically people telling lies. So again, I'm not an expert, far, 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 far from it. But Peter Hyatt is, and going by what he said, it doesn't take much to use that yourself when, like I said, for example, looking at Jerry and Kate McCann, right? So, oh man. Yeah, it was Richard D. Hall. It was Richard D. Hall who paid Peter Hyatt to do it. Richard's good as well, but he's not a statement analyst. But Peter Hyatt is. And yeah, he nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. And I did share the Richard D. Hall video. So you clearly didn't see it, right? Or did you? I'm going to have to start chasing people up now. So we'll jump across to, again, 2007, right? Let me see if I can work the screen. Right, where are we? So, what one is it again? Is it this one? Here we go. Why is there nothing on that? What's going on here? That shouldn't be. Oh my god. That is really weird. I don't know what's happened. I'm going to have to put it on again. Strange, very strange. Technical. I mean, it's not even technical issues that. It should still be there, but it's not. So I'm blaming it on, I don't know, the CIA. We'll go with that, right? I'm gonna have to remove and then put it back on. For God's sake, who am I gonna blame? Oh man, there we go. Let me see if I can work it. Let me see. Is John in the chat? I don't think John's well. We're meant to be doing a stream tomorrow, I think. But I'd emailed John a few days ago. I've not heard back. I know he was a bit unwell, but yeah, I don't know. A wee bit concerned. I mean, I don't really want to get into it, but I hope he's going to be okay. I've not heard from him. I did email him a few days ago, and I've not heard back. But hey, no news is good news, I guess, right? So I hope you're okay, John. And you better email me back. I'm going to have to be chasing you, right? Because we're meant to be doing a movie review tomorrow. I've not even watched it yet. I'm going to have to watch it tomorrow, rapid speed. I don't even know, can't even remember what the movie is. So, I don't know, but I'll have to check it out tomorrow. But yeah, we send our best wishes to John. I hope he's okay. So now, can I work the bloody screen? Ah, man. What video was it again? That one, I believe. So we'll try again. One of these days.
For talking to us. I'd like to begin by taking
Here
you
we
back.
go. Here we go. Here we go. We're cooking. So we're going back to May 2007. Jerry and Kate McCann still in Portugal. Fresh from the scene. And if you look in that video, you can see the posters in the background. One of them is focused on Madeline's eye, her rare eye condition. But they quickly got rid of that as well. No, that doesn't matter anymore. I think it all became about this guy carrying the artist impression. It was all about that. Who is the guy? And less about, well, what did she look like? What was she wearing? But they certainly did point it out very early on, as you can tell by the poster in the background. And again, this is May 2007. Now, it goes for about 10 minutes, I think. So, here it goes.
Jerry and Kate, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. I'd like to begin by taking you back to the events of May the 3rd on that evening. Tell us how you discovered that Madeline had gone.
As I think people are aware, we were checking regularly on the children, and it was during one of my checks that I discovered she'd gone. I mean, I can't really go into any details about that, but I'm sure any parent will realise how that felt.
Did the panic set in immediately?
Yeah, pretty much.
This is a resort that offers childcare facilities, babysitting facilities. Why then were the 3 young children left alone in the apartment while you were having a meal?
I mean, I think if you know the location here, which you've seen, what we did, I think, and we've been reassured by the fact in the thousands of messages from people who have either done exactly the same or said they would have done the same. And for us, it really wasn't very much different to having dinner in your garden and the proximity of the location. I think it's fair to say that, you know, the guilt that we feel having not been there at that moment, irrespective of whether we had been in the other bedroom or not, will never leave us.
Do you blame yourselves regularly?
Certainly the first few days, I think the guilt was very difficult. But I think as time goes on, we feel stronger, and we felt very supported from that point of view.
Is there a lesson here, do you think, to other parents?
I think that's a very difficult thing to say, because if you look at it, and we try to rationalise things in our head, and ultimately what is done, and we do continually look forward, but we've tried to put it into some sort of perspective for ourselves. We're in a very safe resort. If you think about the millions and millions of British families who go to the Mediterranean each year, really the chances of this happening are in the order of 100 million to 1.
I think at worst we were naive. I mean, we're very responsible parents. We love our children very much, and I don't think any parent could ever imagine or consider anything like this happening.
Were you aware of the big public debate that went on in the immediate aftermath, and were you hurt by that?
Yeah,
naturally.
I mean, no one hurts you as much as the hurt that we had. But, you know, we've tried to remain very positive in our outlook. And even small levels of criticism make that hard when you're trying to do everything in your power to get your daughter back.
I know you've been very supportive of the Portuguese police investigation, but is there anything that you feel could have been done better, particularly in those crucial first 24 hours when Madeleine was missing, and perhaps it was treated as a simple missing child as opposed to an abduction?
I think, you know, we are not looking at what has been done, and I don't think it helps at this stage to look back at what could and couldn't have been done. I think it's fair to say we expected a very British style response that you would expect if you were in a big metropolitan city. But you have to put it in context that we're in a tiny resort. But, you know, that aside, the times for these lessons to be learned will be after the investigation is finished, and not now. You know, it's an ongoing investigation which has huge resources both from Portuguese and the British. They're working very, very closely with lots of expert help, and I know there's hundreds of pieces of information continuing to come forward, and I would strongly like to emphasise we would like anyone who's been in here in the 2 weeks leading up to the abduction to come forward if they have not already done so and upload their photographs, because we want Madeleine back and people can still influence that.
Looking back, I mean, did you see anything suspicious in the days leading up to her abduction? Did you notice anything? Have you been racking your brains to try to think whether people might have been watching?
We didn't.
If we did, we wouldn't tell you because it may be important information, but we didn't, you know. It was such a relaxing holiday, and in fact, as a family unit, up until that night, and with the friends we were here, certainly for us, it was as good a holiday as we have had with the children, up until that point.
You have to keep believing that Madeleine is still going to be found alive and well.
Absolutely, and
do you ever, though, allow yourself to drift towards negative thoughts?
I think in the early days we did, and I think that's inevitable. I think any parent who's been through this does that, certainly in the first few days. We don't now. We're actually a lot stronger, a lot more hopeful now, and we have to be hopeful. It's what keeps us going and keeps us focused.
And what about Sean and Amelie? What have you said to them about their big sister?
They're really good. I mean, they're at an age really where they're still quite young, and I guess it hasn't had the same impact on them as if they were a little bit older. They do talk about Madeleine. They pick up things and say Madeleine's, you know, and that's fine, but they're really good.
I think that's, you know, something that is, many people have said to us that this is a parent's worst nightmare, and it is. It truly is, and it's as bad as you can possibly imagine. But, you know, if all 3 of the children had been taken, it could have been even worse than your worst nightmare. And we've got to be strong for them. You know, they're here. They do bring you back to earth. And we cannot, you know, grieve. One, we did grieve, of course we grieve, but ultimately we need to be in control so that we can influence and help in any way possible. Not just Sean and Amelie, but the investigation.
And because of them, the day may come when you have to leave here and go back to the UK. I know you've got no plans to do so at the moment, but how do you think you're going to feel if that day comes and you have to go to the airport and fly back?
I can't think about that, Ian, to be honest. I can't think about going home without Madeleine. So.
I notice you've got Madeleine's cuddly toy with you as always. How did that start, and what comfort does it bring you?
Where did it come from? Or?
No, how did the idea come to just have it in your hands all the time?
Well, it's something that Madeleine has with her every night, and if she's upset or not well, then she has Cuddle Cat. And so it provided me with a little bit of comfort. It's something of Madeleine close to me.
This is International Missing Children's Day. I mean, I guess Madeleine's had more publicity than just about every missing child in the world put together. I'm sure you're very grateful for that. Why do you think it has provoked such enormous public support, of which I don't think we've ever seen before?
I think there's a conglomeration of circumstances that have come together in this situation. The fact that we're on holiday, very safe resort, recognised for that. And of course, the world has changed in terms of information technology and the speed of response, you know, in terms of the media coming here and us being prepared to some extent use that to try and influence the campaign. But above all else, it's touched everyone. Everyone. You don't have to be a parent for this to have a major impact on you. And I think it's also been very, very important. And some of the things which we have done and said, which we didn't realise what impact they would have, but so many thousands of people are doing small things to help us find Madeleine. Because the worst feeling was helplessness. The absolute worst. That we had no bearing on finding her. But once you start to do that, then you start to feel a bit better. And I hope we're going to look back at the end of all this and say that we have done everything in our power, but also that other people are helping in so many other ways and they feel that they are part of it.
Does it worry you that people might start to lose interest as time goes on, the media coverage diminishes inevitably?
For me, we know that the media coverage is not going to last a long time. It's lasted much longer and we have been much, much more successful in driving our message out than we could ever possibly have imagined. Personally, I think it's gone beyond that at the minute, and that there is a feeling with many, many people out there that they will not allow this to happen. And we know that, and we pray that it doesn't happen again, but when it does, the speed of the next response and the template we have set will alter it. And there has been so much goodwill and humanity out there that it really has restored, that one evil act actually has resulted in so much good.
Where do you go from here? There's talk of travelling around Europe. Have you got any firm plans as yet?
We haven't got any firm plans. We're likely to travel in a few places in Europe, but as yet, no definite plans.
But you've got no plans to go back to the UK for the foreseeable future?
No.
I think that everybody has just been incredibly impressed with you as a couple and how you've dealt with this. There was a period after a week or so where you looked as if you were almost broken, and who could not understand that? And then there seemed to be a sort of a strength come from somewhere. Is that a fair point? Is that what happened, and what brought that about?
I think that's definitely true, isn't it?
Certainly, you know, at the end of that first week, there was so much emotion that we had spent, and we actually had a period where we discussed this openly, that we felt devoid, completely devoid of emotion. And the analogy that I like to use is a bit like when we were students and you got to your overdraft limit and you'd gone beyond it and there was just nothing left in the tank. I think physically and mentally were shattered. But you know, as you gradually get more on an even keel, we started to get back into the black. And we'd also worked tirelessly behind the scenes to put support mechanisms in place, including our legal team, the response with the fund, which was really driven by offers rather than us thinking that we needed it. And once these were in place, then it helped us to focus on what we really needed to focus on.
Well, everyone who's watching, who's been following Madeleine's case over the past 3 weeks, just wishes you all the best. Thanks very much, Jerry. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I mean, quite staggering that, right? That is, man. I mean, I shouldn't laugh, but holy moly. That is insane. I mean, people talk about what they call distancing language, right? Distancing language. I'm sure most people know a wee bit about it. But just for, I guess, the record, right? Let me take these off a sec. In fact, I'll need them. We might go back to it. I think we need to kind of maybe break it down a wee bit. Let me see. Share. So we know a wee bit about distancing language, which, for an example, some common features of distancing language include nouns and passive voice instead of personal pronouns and active voice. For example, the data was analyzed instead of I analyzed the data. So we know a wee bit about distancing language, especially when we look at the statement analysis from Peter Hyatt. We know how to spot it. It's very easy to spot. Now, in that interview there, just about every sentence from Jerry's mouth was distancing himself from the case completely. It was blatant. So we keep this one in particular in mind, right? Then we're going to jump back we might not go through the whole video, but it's quite astonishing. I mean, again, I find it comical. Honest to God, they cannot hide it, man. They can't. They struggle quite a lot, even to an extent where Kate is sighing about it, sighing about having to express in regards to her missing fucking daughter. And of course, Jerry then takes the lead. He butts in and says his BS narrative, of course, which is what it is. So we'll jump back, if I can put that back on.
Talking to us. I'd like to begin by taking you back to the events of May the 3rd on that evening. Tell us how you
So straight away, right, the guy's asking him, tell us how you felt, how you were. You.
discovered that Madeleine had gone.
As I think people are aware, we were checking regularly on
Straight away. People were aware. What people? Who is she on about? The public. Why has she automatically, straight off the bat, went there? Did she not hear the question?
children, and it was during one of my checks that I discovered she'd gone. I mean, I can't really go into any details about that, but I'm sure any.
Yeah, I don't think they ever went into any more detail about it. I see Toffee is in the hood. Good evening to our English brother, Toffee. And Steve Cray, the #1 moderator. A pleasure to see you tonight. So again, I mean, every sentence in this is a red flag. Right, so let's go back to it.
Any parent will realise how that felt.
Did the panic set in immediately?
Yeah, pretty much.
This is a resort that offers childcare facilities, babysitting facilities. Why then were the 3 young children left alone in the apartment while you were having a meal?
Good question, right? Quite a good question, that. I mean, have they not got any money?
I mean, I think if you know the location here, which you've seen, what we did, I think.
And if you notice there, Kate never wanted to answer. She's like, nope, I'm not taking that on. And gave the guy a look of disgust almost. Like, don't ask me that, right? And of course, Big Jerry stepped in. He took the lead.
And then we've been reassured by the fact in the thousands of messages from people who've either done exactly the same.
And again, distance in
or
language.
said they would have done the same. And for us,
always distancing himself from the case completely. Oh, you'd have done the same. Oh, we were lucky. It could have been everyone. I could have been abducted. You could have been abducted.
it really wasn't very much different to having dinner in your garden and the proximity of the location. I think it's fair to say that, you know, the guilt that we feel having not been there at that moment, irrespective of whether we had been in the other bedroom.
At that moment, he had to get that in. Well, we know what moment, but you had to be sure to get that in there, right? Or only guilt at that moment about maybe not being there.
Or not, will never leave us.
Do you blame yourselves regularly?
Certainly the first few days, I think the guilt was very difficult. But I think as time goes on, we feel stronger and we felt very supported from that point of view.
Is there a lesson here, do you think, to other parents?
Again, distancing, she always
I think
says
that's a very difficult thing to say.
Never I.
Because if you look at it and we try to rationalise things in our head, and
Same with
ultimately
Jerry.
what is done, and we do continually look forward. But we've tried to put it into some sort of perspective for ourselves. We're in a very safe resort. If you think about the millions and millions of British families who go
Again,
to the
distancing.
Mediterranean each year, really the chances of this happening are in the order of 100 million to 1.
I think at worst we were naive. I mean, we're very responsible parents. We love our children very much. And I don't think any parent could
Had to get that in as well, right? Oh, we're very responsible, really? Going by the timeline that we just read, I would have to declare irresponsible. Unfit to be a parent would be my fucking conclusion.
ever imagine or consider anything like this happening.
Were you aware of the big public debate that went on in the immediate aftermath, and were you hurt by that?
Yeah,
naturally.
I mean, no one hurts you as much as the hurt that we had. But, you know, we've tried to remain very positive in our outlook.
And how did that even make any sense? None of that made sense there. What? Wait, what? Honest to God, I don't even understand what Jerry tried to say. He can't explain how hurt he is. What does that tell you?
And even small levels of criticism make that hard when you're trying to do everything in your power to get your daughter back.
I know you've been very supportive of the Portuguese police investigation, but is there anything that you feel could have been done better particularly in those crucial first 24 hours when Madeleine was missing, and perhaps it was treated as a simple missing child as opposed to an abduction?
I think, you know, we are not looking at what has been done.
Again, he'll never say, well, actually, I think, or actually, for me, I feel that this, that, and the next thing, it's we. He's always trying to take himself out of the equation.
And I don't think it helps at this stage to look back at what could and couldn't have been done. I think it's fair to say we expected a very British style response that you would expect if you were in a big metropolitan city. But you have to put it in context that we're in a tiny resort. But you know, that aside, the times for these lessons to be learned will be after the investigation is finished and not now. You know, it's an ongoing investigation which has huge resources both from Portuguese and the British. They're working very, very closely with lots of expert help, and I know there's hundreds of pieces of information continuing to come forward, and I would strongly like to emphasise we would like anyone who's been in here in the 2 weeks leading up to the abduction to come forward if they have not already done so and upload their photographs, because we want Madeleine back and people can still influence that.
Looking back, I mean, did you see anything suspicious in the days leading up to her abduction? Did you notice anything? Have you been racking your brains to try to think whether people might have been watching?
We didn't.
If we did, we wouldn't.
Well, Jerry, Kate already answered the question. So there's no point in you saying, we wouldn't tell you because it's an ongoing investigation. I mean, who says that? A fucking criminal says that. Oh, it's an ongoing case. Right, sure. I don't want to say anything. I can't say anything about it. We can't tell you, but of course Kate already answered it. She said no. Nothing suspicious, right? So what about the door then? What about the door being ajar? What about the door then being open? Nothing to be said of that, because that was certainly suspicious. Someone's telling tales.
Tell you because it may be important information, but we didn't, you know. It was such a relaxing holiday, and in fact, as a family unit, up until that night, and with the friends we were here, certainly for us, it was as good a holiday as we have had with the children, up until that point.
How could you even say that, man? At that time, still in Portugal. Oh, well, it wasn't too bad, the holiday. Oh, yeah, well, there was the Madeleine disappeared. Apart from that, it was a great holiday.
To keep believing that Madeleine is still going to be found alive and well.
Absolutely.
Do you ever, though, allow yourself to drift towards negative thoughts?
I think in the early days we did, and I think that's inevitable. I think any parent who's been through this does that, certainly in the first few days. We don't now. We're actually a lot stronger, a lot more hopeful now. And we have to be hopeful. It's what keeps us going and keeps us focused.
And what about Sean and Emily? What have you said to them about their big sister?
They're really good. I mean, they're at an age really where they're still quite young, and I guess it hasn't had the same impact on them as if they were a little bit older. They do talk about Madeleine. They pick up things and say Madeleine's, you know, and that's fine, but they're really good.
I think that's, you know, something that is, many people have said to us that this is a parent's worst nightmare, and it is.
Again,
it truly
I mean,
is, and it's
Jerry simply cannot help himself but try his absolute hardest to distance him from the whole situation completely, almost replacing him with you.
as bad as you can possibly imagine, but you know, if all three of the children had been taken, it could have been even worse than your worst nightmare.
Yeah, lucky, right?
And we've got to be strong for that.
So lucky. Oh, we forget about it. It's not a horror story. We were actually really lucky. I mean, you wouldn't. You wouldn't go there, man. There's no luck. Luck would not even enter your mind. Where's the luck in thinking that? Honestly, that's the kind of thing you think when it was a close call, but it was lucky. We all got out okay. Not when someone's fucking missing. Oh, well, it could have been me, though. I mean, it bloody frustrates me, this guy. Honest to God. I just want to, like Homer Simpson and Bart Simpson. Why, you little... Yeah. I might get away with saying that.
They're here. They do bring you back to earth. And we cannot, grieve. One, we did grieve, of course we grieve, but...
And what was that? Sorry, Jerry? Say that again? I think he would want to do that again. Can we do that again? Cut! I got my words mixed up there, But yeah, we cannot grieve. We can grieve. You can't grieve. Who can't grieve? Who would even say such a thing? Confused? I think poor Jerry got a bit confused. Flustered, maybe.
Ultimately, we need to be in control so that we can influence and help in any way possible. Not just Sean and Amelie, but the investigation.
And because of that...
So they need to be in control, not just for their kids, but for the investigation. Also, they're leading the investigation now, right? I mean, come on. The language they use is concerning.
The day may come when you have to leave here and go back to the UK. I know you've got no plans to do so at the moment, but how do you think you're going to feel if that day comes and you have to go to the airport and fly back?
I can't think.
And we're back again. Fucking hell. Who done that? Who done it? Who am I going to blame? Who forgot to put the charger on? Who done it? Who's going to confess? Of course it was me. Scots is in the hood. It's not the wizard internet dialing up in the northeast. I'm not officially in the Highlands. We're in Murrayshire, so you need to make sure you get that right, right? Murrayshire. So we're back again. We got some idiot forgot to put in the charger. Yeah. Of course it was me. Yeah. No one to blame but myself. But hey, we watched we went over that anyway. I think we were towards the end of the interview. There was one bit at the end that I wanted to point out. And it was Jerry McCann saying, well, we know the media attention is not going to last for very long. Yeah, Jerry? Are you sure about that? Oh, we're back again. We got muted again there. Proper professional tonight, right? Man, children. Don't have them. Just don't. Of course, that wouldn't be the right idea. We're back again. It's a duck. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's not the broadband tonight. Unfortunately. I can't even blame that. I've got nothing to blame but myself. So I can't think of any distancing language to use to not blame myself for it. I should speak to Jerry McCann. He's the guy for doing that, right? I don't think he even said I, or I this, or I that, or I felt this. I don't think he said it once. It would be a good interview for Peter Hyatt to get his teeth into. But I want to show you one or two more before we call it a night. There's one in particular, and I mean, oh my God. Talk about body language giving it away, man. Honest to God. And it's from quite recent Jerry McCann interview. Let me see if I can find it. Is there maybe... I've got one from Kate that I'll show you before I show you the one of Jerry. And this one is from 2008.
Madeline more than I love her. You know, I would never have taken a risk. It was something that wasn't even a decision. That's how safe it felt, you know.
What
and it didn't help.
Did we have to suggest it wasn't going to be safe? We were dining 50 yards away. We were making regular checks. We were to the apartment always, every night. And if we had thought it was unsafe for a minute, if there was any conscious element that somebody was going to go into that apartment and steal your child, then of course we wouldn't have done that.
But it wasn't just a matter of being unsafe, was it? I mean, is it the case? You can clear it up right here now. Was Madeline upset the night before about being left alone? Had she had a moment and got out of bed and started crying and started looking for you?
I mean, I don't want to dwell on it too much. I mean, I don't know if you saw the documentary last night, so I mean, I have talked about it. Madeline made a comment in passing that where were you when I cried? Not just to Mummy, by the way, just generally. It just seemed a bit odd. I mean, it was a very kind of passing remark, and we just thought she doesn't usually wake up, and she woke up, that means that, you know, she must have fallen back asleep very quickly. And then she moved on. You know, she moved on.
Anybody with young children will understand that children cry, they wake up at night. During that week, there was one night And we can't give too much detail because it's part of the investigation further, but there was one night when Madeline had come through and one of the other twins was crying. So, and when she did mention it to us and we asked her about it and she just dropped, she was completely fine. And we thought, was it when they were bathing, getting them, first putting them down in that period when they're really tired? Of course, with hindsight, in the context of what happened, of Madeline being abducted, it's put in a very different light, and it's put in a very different light to us, and of course we emphasise that.
If Madeline hadn't been abducted, we'd never have thought of that comment again.
Again, very dodgy. Again, Jerry can't help himself but distance every time he talks about the whole saga. Oh, but if you, people say, they said, yeah. Yeah, that kind of crossed my mind as well. So I can maybe second that. Of course, it would be all speculation, but I would probably put a bit of weight behind it. Because early on, I thought Kate was very unaware. Now, not so much, but Jerry, from the very beginning, was a big concern. And I know people can say it's an interesting one because I've got a son who has I'm not his biological father, and that's my eldest. The other two, unfortunately, they are mine. If you can't laugh at yourself, right? But he is my son. I love him like my son. I treat him like my son. I would do anything for him like I would do for my son or my daughter. Because I've raised him from a very young age and it feels like he's my son. That's what I'm used to. I know no different from it, but biologically, of course, he's not. And when it comes to Jerry McCann, he was not Madeline McCann's biological father. So I'm unsure if that is worth anything, to be honest. What I would say is, I don't think they had been together for, like, say, 10 years or whatever it was. So I'm unsure if what the relationship was like between Madeline and Jerry. I get the feeling Jerry couldn't treat anybody like his son or daughter. But I think when you're dealing with an entity like Jerry McCann, he certainly wouldn't care about a child who was not biologically his, because he is a psycho. He has no empathy, probably not even any feeling. Well, maybe not true. I think you can see anger from time to time, frustration, and always on the defensive. Oh, well, how could it be us? We couldn't murder her. None of it makes any sense. How could we? There's not enough time in the day. He's got all the cover stories in the world. And I'll take you to DNA was taken. It showed they were both her bio parents. Well, either way, again, Jerry's the type of man. I don't think Jerry could love any human being, no matter what. That's the feeling I get from Jerry. But I'm unsure. I was under the impression that Jerry was his not the biological father, and Kate had been with a previous partner. But that may not be the case. Either way, my feelings on Jerry stem from who he is, what he is, how he acts. And it is not good. Who done the DNA test? The actual Kate and Jerry McCann released the DNA test? I'm unsure. We can discuss that potentially in the second part because there's so much to get into. But I want to show you a different one now. And this one really is concerning. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, this one here. It's quite recent. It's
Did
a
you
bit.
kill your daughter?
I mean, talk
No,
about a
no,
giveaway,
never.
right? And it's a very short clip.
There's
Here it is.
nothing.
I'll play it again because it's that short. You might have missed it. Here it goes.
Did you kill your daughter?
No, never. And, there's nothing with any logic that could, you would have to start with why, how, when, who, and there's just simply, the answer to any of these things is there's nothing to suggest anything. So, no, that's an emphatic no.
Wow. I mean, oh, Jesus. Where do you start with that? Do you see what he done? Holy moly. Did you see what he done straight away? Watch it again. Look, as soon as she asked the question, he kind of itches his face or his nose. And he's like, no. And he's talking about emphatic no, like reassuring. Well, no was sufficient enough, similar to what Peter Hyatt said. All he had to say was no. But he goes on to basically give an alibi. It would be impossible. Yeah. Impossible. Yeah, well, I don't know why there was no audio either. There can't be any. There should be audio for me. Ah, there we go. We're back, are we? I don't know what's going on, man. Honest to God. Not that I ever do like, but why is this still playing in the bloody background and it won't pause? Fuck's sake. What's going on here? Honestly. Right, I'll add it and see. what happens.
Things is there's nothing to suggest.
Right, can we play it again? And what's the deal with the audio? The volume's right up. There was no issue with audio before. Right, let's watch it again.
Did you kill your daughter?
No, never. And there's nothing.
We don't
with
seem
any
to be
logic
getting any
that
audio
could,
now.
You would have to start with why.
Man.
How, when,
I don't
who,
think people
and
can hear it,
there's
right?
just simply, the answer to any of these
How did that
things
happen?
is there's nothing
I
to
mean,
suggest
the audio,
anything.
we just listened to it and it was okay.
That's an emphatic no.
God only knows what's going on there. Maybe you could hear it and just I couldn't. God only knows what happened. I'll play it again one last time, right? And I won't speak.
Did you kill your daughter?
No, never. And there's nothing with any logic that could, you would have to start with why, how, when, who, and there's just simply, the answer to any of these things is there's nothing to suggest anything. So no, that's an emphatic no.
Right, so I'm hoping you heard it because I can't hear it. And they've decided to remove my audio, which is weird, but there you go. I think there is maybe one more we can fit in. We've got time, surely, right? Time waits for no man, only woman, right? We'll go with that. Let me see. I appreciate everyone joining tonight. Let me see. Present video file. I think there is one more video we can have a look at. It's from 2011, so a few years later, right? Here it goes.
Join us now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. This will be your 5th birthday without Madeline. Each year before, you've marked it with a small party, cakes, balloons, cards. Is that how you're going to remember her today?
Obviously, it's slightly different today, George, because we're launching my book. There will still be a little tea party at home and balloons and cake with Sean and Emily and close family and friends. I think I comfort myself by knowing that what we're doing today could be very positive in the search for our daughter.
And as you said, all of the proceeds from this book are going to fund the search for Madeline, because this has to be done privately now. Police aren't doing it anymore.
That's right. The police investigation stopped in July 2008, so we've had to get our own team of investigators, and obviously we have to fund that ourselves as well as the campaign.
What we hope with the book launch today, George, though, as well, is launching a campaign really for an independent review of Madeline's case by the authorities, something that's never been done, and for us that's a major stone that needs turned in the search for our daughter.
You know, in the book, you base it on the diaries, Kate, that you've kept for Madeline. It is so raw and honest about your pain and what you did as a couple. There are points where you're actually blamed by the police. One point, the Portuguese police basically offer you a deal. They say, if you just take 2 years in prison, confess to accidentally killing Madeline, this whole thing will be over.
I think it's hard to explain how terrifying that whole experience was. It looked like our whole life was going to collapse around us. And I'm sure if we had confessed to hiding Madeline's body, for which there's absolutely no evidence, and no evidence even that Madeline's been harmed, that would have been the end of it. Kate was incredibly strong through that period and was fighting for Madeline.
I think the most difficult thing, George, was the realisation at that point that the police weren't looking for Madeline and that they were just focused really on trying to, I guess, blame us and for it all to be over. And obviously that is, you know, one of the most damaging things that could then happen to the search, really. was for the police to stop looking and to convince the general public as well that we were somehow involved, and then stop them from looking. So that was the thing that hurt the most.
You also write about, though, you had left Madeline and the kids there. This, and my wife and I have talked about this. This could happen to anyone. But how were you able to stop blaming yourself in any way?
I mean, all I can say is how much that I love Madeline. We both love our children dearly, and there was no way we'd ever have put them at risk. I think I have to remind myself as well that the person who's committed this crime is the abductor. And at this point, that abductor, that person is out there free. So he's got away with this so far. He's also free to go and, commit similar crimes if he's left as it is, if nobody's going to bother to try and look for him.
And finally, what's your biggest hope of what can come from this book?
Well, obviously, our main hope is that it'll lead somehow to us finding our daughter and for us to be back as a family of 5 again. And we'd like to thank everybody as well in advance that has helped us already. Thank you to everybody who'll read the book, and please keep looking, please keep helping us to find our daughter.
And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, another strange interview, right? I mean, every interview, I picked out 3 there in particular, but every interview that I've seen is cause for concern. When you begin to add everything up, it doesn't look good, right? It doesn't look good for Madeline. And you can see in the thumbnail there, the complex where in the circle beside the W and the K is where the apartment is. Then beside Jerry's arm, under the B and N, is another circle of the tapas bar. So you can see even from that, there's quite a distance there. And the apartment itself is kind of out with the complex that they're in. Yet in their interview, in one of them in particular, they make it out. They want you to feel like, oh, it's like being in your garden. And they were playing outside. No, it wouldn't be like that. And again, if it was like that, talk about an unfit parent, man. I mean, hey, I know none of us are perfect parents. There's no such a thing as a perfect parent. There's not. But come on, man. So I think maybe next week or the week after, or maybe maybe there will be another chapter in the story that might trigger the second live stream on the McCann case, because it's not going to go away. It's never going to go away. It's like a big giant money machine. Excuse me. It's like a giant money machine now. A cash cow. 13+ million the McCann charity has taken in, fleeced the public. What have they done with the money? Jerry? I wonder what Jerry would have to say to that. Well, when you do get all this money, we do put it on stuff that people would like to buy stuff with. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Jerry is classic in distance and language. He does not want anything to do with it whatsoever. Straight away, he washed his hands with the whole situation. And very early on, he clearly indicated no empathy, no feeling, a psycho. Kate, not so much, but today you can see it in her. She's got there in the end, if you like. So next week or the week after, we'll get into the McCann story again. I think there's possibly one other live stream that I could do before then. What it's going to be on, God only knows, because I don't even know yet. Tonight I was going to kind of do just a bit of an update, and then I thought, well, we'll do a follow-on from the McCann video that we put out, which is linked in the description, the statement analysis. Now, be warned, if you watch these statement analysis, you're going to go around analysing everyone's statement, right? He's lying. And you'll be able to tell who's lying and who's not. So be prepared. You'll be putting on another pair of the sunglasses, right? And you can't take them off, of course. Yeah. Of course, I'm not an expert. Peter Hyatt, he's an expert on it. Maybe it could be an idea to see about maybe paying Peter to do a wee bit more statement analysis. Maybe not of the McCanns, but maybe of other specific individuals. It's crossing my mind, so I might look into it. So we'll jump into the chat and we'll say cheerio, right? Like I said, we had a good day yesterday. Apart from that, the weather has been shite, to put it bluntly. But I enjoyed the interview that I had with Mark Windows. It was great. I highly recommend Windows on the World. Check it out. Mark done a great stream the other night. Again, I highly recommend it. And we'll get Mark on again. We'll get more people on. I'll possibly email Sandy Adams this week. I did speak to her at the meeting, and it was interesting. Like I think I might have mentioned. Maybe I didn't actually. Have I been on since then? I don't think I have. And maybe I mentioned it earlier, but I went to watch a talk by Sandy Adams. I think I did mention it, and it was good. And she did mention one or two things about geoengineering that I want to possibly bring her up on and find out a wee bit more. Because I think it could be actually quite vital to our kind of investigations that we've got going on. See how I'm saying our? So it's us, not just me. It's not just me, right? So if they come to get me, they're coming to get us, right? Because of our investigation. But I do feel like we're all part. We've all kind of got a part to play here. I'm very grateful for the people that come on, the people that engage, and of course, anybody who watches just by lurking in the background, creeping on their tiptoes, right? Lurking in the bushes, but still listening. So, thank you very much. And yeah, it's been great. The time's flown in again. I can't believe nearly 3 hours long. Yikes. So we'll say cheerio, we'll play a tune, we'll call it a night. And I should be on tomorrow on John Davidson's channel, but I'm unsure. I'll let you know. So a joy to see the beautiful Justine back again. A pleasure to see you tonight. Wendy B, always a joy to see you. Sadie, I hope you're doing well, you and your mum. Back again, great stuff. Justine, Wendy, Spanish Chicken, fantastic, good to see you. Back again. Zoo Scott in the hood, good to see you, my friend. Joni in the hood, a pleasure as always. Hopefully we can get a bit of a catch up again, right? I'll look out for, if you're on tomorrow, let me think. I might be free during the day, so I'll keep an eye out for a live stream, and I'll jump on, right? Good to see Joni and Sadie, Wendy, Justine, Zoo Scott, Katie Kane in the hood. A pleasure to see Katie. Where did she go? Why is it not working? One of these days. There we go. Good to see Katie back again. Dominic as well. A pleasure to see Dominic. I hope you're doing well. Angela, fantastic. Good to see you. Angela Dempsey. I like the name Dempsey. I don't know why. I'm always unsure as to why I'm drawn to certain names. There's got to be something in that, right? God only knows what. But I do like the name Dempsey for some reason. Anyone else that I missed? Scott's Armor. I can't remember what date I'm on Scott's channel, but I'll try and remember and I'll let you know in advance so you can check it out. You should be subscribed already. If not, why not? So good to see Scott's. I hope you're doing well, brother. I was thinking about you the other day. Sounds a bit weird, right? What? In what context? It was I was at college. I was helping out at the gardens, and it's called the Biblical Garden, and it's sort of, well, it's themed by the Bible. And I thought about you when I was reading about Moses, and I thought about your wee Telegram channel that you've got, and I think you would love the Biblical Garden here in Elgin. Anyone who, I mean, I'm not even religious or anything like that, but even I love it. Of course, there's more to it than that. It's beautiful. And it's got like every plant and tree that's mentioned, just about everyone that's mentioned in the Bible. And honestly, the only way I can describe it is like a slice of, or a drop of heaven on earth. That's the only way I can describe it. So I thought about, I was going to send you a photo. I might still do it. I'm going to take a photo of it and I'll send you it and you can check it out. And I'll share it on my community post. I know we've got people here of sound faith. We'll call it that, right? We've got all kinds of people here actually, which is great. We've got plenty of room, but we draw the line, right? You've got to draw the line. No Irish, no dogs, no blacks. I mean, no, of course not that. But we draw the line at Satanism in that kind of direction, that kind of a cult. There's certainly lines that can be drawn, right? Of course, we let Irish here, we let dogs, and we let black people. We're not that bad, right? At least I'm not. I can only speak for myself. Dogs, yeah, they can be a pain in the bum, to be honest. So thank you again, everyone, tonight for joining. Oh, Kari as well. Kari C, thank you very much for your input tonight. Fantastic, and thanks for joining the last stream as well. Much appreciated. So let me see. I'll find a tune. We'll call it a night. What have I got to do? I was meant to go to the shop. It's almost midnight. Yeah, man. Honest to God, I don't think I'm going to make it. I don't even know. They close whenever they want. So it can be a hit or a miss. You can go and it's open. You can go and it's closed. The joys, right? The joys. So we'll play a tune. We'll call it a night. If I'm not streaming tomorrow with John, I might jump on and we can have a bit of a catch up and maybe look at some of the, I don't know, the latest news or the latest deception. Let's go with that. Maybe even a syndrome update. That might be in order, actually, right? So I'll grab a tune. We'll call it a night. And again, thank you to everyone who joined and who engages, who's been there all the way, whether you're new or old. But the people who have been here from the beginning, I don't know how you've done it. I don't know how you managed to put up with me. Honest to God, I'm laughing, but I'm very grateful for the time we've spent. We've came a long way. We've learnt a lot. We've been through a lot, and we always keep our heads high. And we do not for one split second live in fear. And no matter what, no matter where, we do not comply. And that is about it. Bye-bye.
Loving you isn't the right thing to do. How can I ever change things that I feel? If I could, baby, I'd give you my world. How can I when you won't take it from me? You can go your own way, go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. You can go your own way, go your own way. Tell me why everything turned around. Packing up, shacking up, so you wanna do. If I could, baby, I'd give you my world. Open up, everything's waiting for you. You can go your own way, go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. You can go your own way, go your own way. You can go your own way, go your own way. You can call it another lonely day, another lonely day. You can go your own way, go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. You can go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. You can go your own way. You can call it